Everybody, this is Roxy, Firewife Lawyer Mom, and today we are going to talk about drawing and coloring. Now, why would I pick a topic like this? Well, it's important, so stay tuned.
We'll be free. So forget the fear, come out of hiding, breathe in the air. We are deciding now. Let's get carried away, yeah. With every day.
Hi everybody, welcome to Firewife Lawyer Mom. My name is Roxy and I'm a homeschooling mommy of two beautiful princesses, and I started this channel so that you guys can follow me on my first year of homeschool, which is almost coming to an end, which I can't believe that I'm almost at the end of my first homeschool year, but definitely it's been such a blessing to have you guys come along with me, and I can share all of the wonderful things that I have learned throughout my first homeschool year. But today we're going to be talking about something really important that I'm sure maybe is something you haven't really thought about. But today's video is going to be about the importance of drawing and coloring, and how important it is to teach your children at a young age to learn these skills of drawing and coloring, and how important it is for their self-confidence, for them to kind of open up that artistic side of their brain. And it's just really important. And so I wanted to kind of share what I use in my homeschool to encourage them to learn how to draw different things like shapes and people and animals and all kinds of things. So I'm going to give you guys some really great resources. Now, don't fret, because I'm going to be putting all of my resources down in the description box below. So you don't need to take any notes or anything. I will have everything written down along with links for you as well. Now, why is it important for children to learn how to draw and color properly? Well, believe it or not, drawing and coloring is really important for everyday life. It's important for the kids to have a way to express themselves artistically. And I really didn't feel that this was important, or that I really kind of paid attention to it when I had my first daughter. But when I had my second daughter, who has some learning challenges, and I realized that it was difficult for her to learn how to draw different things. It was very difficult for her. I remember, I'm never going to forget, when my kids were in school and my youngest daughter was in, I believe it was like pre-K 3, that my teacher at the time for her had told me that she was very concerned about my daughter because she couldn't draw a stick person. And I was kind of like, what do you mean that is a concern? I thought my children are here to learn letters, numbers, and colors and all those kinds of things. Why are you so concerned? And apparently, there's a standard out there that they should be learning how to draw stick figures by 3-4 years old, at least making like the little head with the eyes and the mouth and such. And I kind of was a little bit bothered by this teacher, because I felt like, well, how do you know that she's ready to do this right now? I mean, maybe it's something she's not going to do till later. I don't know. I was just kind of a little bit irked that, and that's one of the reasons why I took my children out of school, because I was so, turned off by the fact that in school, it's like these kids have to have hit these standards. It's almost like as if every single kid needs to fit in this little box that the school system tells you that they have to fit in. And if they don't fit in that box, then there's something wrong with them. They need services, they need therapies, they need all these kinds of things. And a lot of times, teachers and educators kind of pull the trigger a little bit early as to whether or not kids are behind or needing things. And sometimes the fact is that maybe kids develop at different stages. Maybe, you got to just wait a little bit for the kids to kind of come around to whatever skill it is that they learn. I feel like every child is different. And I feel that every child should have the opportunity to develop at their own speed, at their own pace. And that's a lot of the reason why we're homeschooling. I'm going to share with you guys one day my homeschool journey and how I arrived at ending up taking my kids out of school. But that was one of the things. I was always kind of being bombarded by teachers about, where the kids need to be at what time. But I did notice that as the years went on, my daughters drawing skills kind of started to not really develop. I didn't feel that she was able to draw people, able to draw an animal, able to draw things. So I felt like she kind of needed help in this area. And so what I decided to do was incorporate this skill into my homeschooling. Now, I don't make it this entire huge thing that I take out of my day, but what I decided to do was on Fridays, I said, let me take some time, 10, 15 minutes of time to go over with her how to draw, how to color. One of the things that the teachers would tell me, she's always scribbling outside of the lines. And I used to tell them, well, maybe my kid's just a scribble outside the lines type of person, I myself am not a good drawer. I could barely draw I could draw a stick figure. That's about it. I could barely draw animals. It's very sad. If you ask me to draw a pig, a dog, a goat, anything like that, it will be a rectangle with a circle and some sticks at the bottom. It's really, primitive. Like I probably belong writing hieroglyphics because that's about all I can do. So I started to say, let me incorporate this into my homeschool in some way. And so I started to kind of do some research. As you guys know, I am the research guru and I research everything. And I went and I looked at what are the kinds of ways that I can help my daughter. So the three things that I really wanted her to learn how to draw. Now she is in kindergarten and starting into first grade. So just to kind of give you an idea of where she was age range, she's 6 years old now. But when I started this, it was probably towards her late 5-year-old into 6. And so I said, these are the three things I kind of want her to learn. I wanted her to learn how to draw a proper person, a boy and a girl. I want her to draw animals, cars, trees, and flowers, kind of the basics of, a child's painting. And I also wanted her to draw her shapes well, because if a child is not able to draw their shapes well, it's going to be difficult for them to draw people and animals, because a lot of times you need these kinds of shapes in order to draw them. For example, if you're going to draw a pig, pigs have pointy ears. So you'll probably have to do a triangle at the top. Or if a child needs to draw a car, well, the wheels have to be a perfect circle, right? A circle, so that you can know that they're wheels of a car. So I felt like they needed to learn how to draw shapes. So what I decided to do was some research. So I've got some resources here for you that I think would be great if your child is struggling in this area of drawing and coloring. This is what I suggest. So the first thing I'm going to suggest for you guys is a Lightup pad. Now, why is a Lightup pad amazing? Now, I didn't really even know about this until probably Christmas, when I was doing my Christmas shopping and I was looking for toys and things that were, educational for the children. And so I looked up and I saw this thing and I thought, wow, I can actually incorporate this into my homeschool and help her with her drawing. This is also great, just as a side note, to help them with drawing their letters and numbers. Now, what this is, it's a little device, and it comes, Crayola makes this, a bunch of other companies, and you could buy it on Amazon. I will link the one that I have here in the description box. But what it does is it has a backlight. So it's basically a little screen, and this is a great thing just to even entertain your children. But I decided to use this for my drawing, for her to learn her drawing skills. So what you do is you place a piece of paper. So here I just literally Googled stick figure clip art, and I printed a clip art photo of a family. And so what I do is, this is pretty much, a little dog, a baby, a mom, a dad, a brother, and a sister. And so what I do is I put a blank piece of paper on top. Now this has something on it, so it's not blank, but I just want you to get the idea. You put a blank piece of paper on top, and as you can see, they can see the drawing underneath. And so what I have my daughter do is actually get a pencil and trace over the stick figures. And so this kind of helps her train her mind in how a stick figure is supposed to look, because it's not the same thing as me telling her, draw a round face, draw some hair, draw a nose, draw an eyes. sometimes children can't understand that when you're just telling them that, especially if they're very young. And especially my daughter who's got some learning challenges. So what's great about this is she can go ahead and draw the stick figures and feel like she drew an amazing painting. And so she goes ahead. So I have her do this for about 15 minutes a week. Sometimes I do it even more, like when we're in the car or when we're at a doctor's office or whatever. This is a great tool. It's battery operated, so you don't have to charge it or plug it or anything like that. So I got for her not only the stick figures, but I also got Googled some farm animals. And so you can also put it vertically. And I also have her trace these animals. And so it's a great way for them to learn how to draw well. Now, it does, this is going to take time, so we must be patient with it, but at least it gives them an idea and gives them that confidence that, hey, I can create something, And so this is a wonderful light pad that I would help use for coloring. Now, also, for coloring and drawing. Now, for coloring, this is also great because what you can do is you can put a colored item, whatever, a colored page that you print out of your colored printer underneath, and they can learn how to color that thing, whatever it is. You could put a princess, a pirate, anything, and they could learn to color in the lines, because if they're coloring along the shaded part that they're seeing shine through this paper, then they're able to color within the lines. Now, also, when they're very young, so when they're 2-3 years old, I kind of let them color however they want. But once they get into like late 4s and 5s, I start to kind of narrow their coloring down. And I start to be a little bit more conscious about how they are coloring. And so I remind them, make sure you stay in the lines, make sure you color in the lines. Now, another great way for coloring to help them is to color with them. How many times, and I know we're super busy. I am one of the busiest persons ever. And so I know it's super hard, but if you could just dedicate 10 minutes, 15, sit with your child at the dining table and color with them. Show them how you move the crayon, how you move it back and forth, that you don't have to make big, huge strokes, that little strokes over and over again will be able to fill the entire picture that they're coloring. And I also like to make sure and remind children if there is a white space. So if they're coloring, for example, a shape, and half of the top corner of the square is white, and they're like, well, I'm done coloring. I say, wait a second, I still see some white there. Maybe you could keep coloring till we cover all of those little spaces. So that's another kind of tip that you could use also to help them with coloring. Now, another thing I like to do once they get a little bit more seasoned is get them a lot of like these little how to draw books. Now, these are great because they have pictures in them. Now, this one is a shark theme. And again, I will link in the description box, but this is a great series because it has a lot of different animals and different, plants and all kinds of things that they could color. And you could just pick whatever they like. But I love it because it goes step by step teaching them how to draw. Now, my 9-year-old loves these. And so I give them to her so that she can develop her own drawing skills. Like I said, drawing is really important. It's not just because you want them to draw for school, but as they get older, if they want to become an architect or if they want to, become anything, if they've got to draw kind of something so that they could show their client or show their customer something, drawing skills are important, at least to have something basic. Now, what I have for shapes, I have a great idea for shapes. If your child is struggling in drawing their basic shapes, I recommend getting some stencils. Stencils are a great way for children to kind of keep practicing those skills. So, for example, my daughter finds it hard to draw easy to draw a rectangle, believe it or not, but harder to draw a square. I don't know why. But I get these, and I got these on Amazon, and they're so great because it keeps you put it down on the paper, and they take their pencil and they trace around, and it keeps them in that mold so that they can learn. So I have square and rectangle. I have some star ones, I have ovals, and I have circles. And so what I do, and this you can incorporate in centers, you can also incorporate in any kind of busy work you want to give them if you're working with another child, which is what I usually like to do. And so you give them pieces of paper and they just go ahead and trace their shapes. And believe it or not, this is training them to learn their shapes. You can also even put a little label on top that has the word circle or diamond or whatever it is. And so I love this set here because it comes with all of the shapes that would consider the basic 2D shapes they need to know. Now this is a rhombus. This is a octagon. And here, just all different kinds of shapes. It's really, really awesome. And this is the shape stencil kit that I got, and I will link it in the description box below as well. Also, another great way to teach them is this series. This is called the Draw Right Now series. I absolutely love this series. It's so, so fun because not only are they learning how to draw, but they're also learning how to read, and they're also learning how to write. So what it has them do, and this has a bunch of different themes. This is my farm one, and I think they go up in levels. It's not just this one. But this is great because it has a passage, and so they read the passage, they do the copy work, and then it teaches them how to draw the animal that the passage was talking about. So this series is great for drawers. And like I said, you can do this once a week for 10 or 15 minutes, and you are gonna see improvement after about a month or so. If you incorporate this in their work, in their busy work, and whatever, you'll start to see some improvement. Another thing I like also to use is the Moffat girls, who I love. They also have a drawing program where they have different things that you could choose from, and it teaches them step by step how to draw. It's really, really awesome. Also, another one that I love is this series. This is called How to Draw. Super, super simple. I'm talking really, really simple shapes, really simple animals, just basic stuff. How to draw a fish, how to draw a frog, all these kinds of things that really, look, how to draw the sun, this is all stuff that's in a basic picture that a child will draw. And so having them be confident in their drawing and their coloring skills really is going to help boost their self-esteem, because they'll be so proud of what they've created, especially if you have a child who is like my child, the younger one in the family. My older daughter is very good at drawing. She's very artsy, and sometimes she kind of feels a little let down because she feels she doesn't create like the masterpieces that my older daughter creates. And so this has really helped with that. It's really helped with her being able to kind of feel proud of what she has created. Another thing that you can also get for them this is a great series from Kumon, and it's called My Book of Coloring. And what's great about it is that it has activities that teach them to do a narrow focus coloring. So they'll tell you, color the white area below. So it's teaching them to fill in any white spaces that they may have, and it does it in a gentle way so that they don't feel overwhelmed by all that they have to color. So it'll give you like a police car, and it says color the area below, the shape. And it starts to get more difficult in difficulty. It'll start to give you 2 areas to color. And so these are all great ways. Another thing I also like is to do dot art. Dot art for me is one of my favorite things for kids to do, because the dots help them to be able to cover a greater area much simply, because those dots kind of, if you put them all together, they can really fill up a space that's white. And so this is another great way. I have these dot to dot creativity books. I get these at Michael's, but you can also find them online. And what's great about them, see, if you could see, my daughter has already did some, but see how easy it is, because the lines are very thick. That's another thing with coloring books. If they're learning how to color, try to get stuff with very thick lines and not many not very intricate drawings, because the more intricate the drawing is, the more difficult it will be for them to color. So I love this series because it has, as you can see, very thick lines, very thick paper that they can use to color as well. Okay, so again, another thing that is awesome too is painting with water. This is great. I love this for restaurants. P.S. I love this for restaurants because I can bring this to a restaurant, ask the waiter for a plastic cup and water, and they can go crazy with it. All you need to do is bring a paintbrush, and these usually have like a little plastic thing that has a paintbrush inside. I don't think this one came with that, but it has already the palette. So they dip it in water, and then this becomes paint. And so they can use it to paint their, creation, and it helps them. It helps them to kind of narrowly focus. I would obviously get a very, very thin brush for them to be able to practice staying in those lines, because not only is it important that they color within the lines, but that they color whatever it is they're coloring appropriately. So I always try to tell my children, if you're coloring a person, don't color them orange or blue, because, most people's skin are not blue. Or green, unless you're an alien, and I don't know. But to try to use different skin tones, whether it be light skin tones or dark skin tones. It's great to have also a Crayola color palette that has different, skin tones, from light skin to darker skin. It's good so that they can learn and have them color different shades of skin too, because that's the way the real world is. There's not only people with light skin. There's not only people with dark skin. We live in a world where people have all different color skins. So have them, create that little diversity that they can in their coloring, which is awesome too. And so I hope that this has been helpful. I hope that you guys have kind of used these resources to help your children with drawing and coloring, and that you see the importance of it. Definitely, if you guys have any ideas of what you use to help your children draw and color, let me know. And I leave them in the comments below, because I would love to definitely use this community to share the resources that we have. So thank you so much for coming along with me today. I hope this was helpful, and I hope everyone has a great day. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. I will be coming up with some great new videos for next year's homeschool curriculum, so I can't wait for that. But if you don't hit subscribe, you won't know when I have a new video. So also, you can follow me on Firewife Lawyer Mom 911 on Instagram, and I there share my day-to-day homeschooling journey. And so thank you so much, and everybody have a wonderful day. God bless you all. Bye-bye.
Don't you miss it? No, 'cause nothing good has ever come easy, and we've come too far to give up now. We've never been so close.